teen magazines. What would I do without you? With your fashion, your beauty, your health, your love, and life advice, my world would just be so, I guess, helpless. Or, uninteresting, maybe. Oh, hi. Today, I wanted to talk about something completely random, and yes, since it's Sunday, it's going to be random, and I thought, why not talk about 17 in particular, or teen magazines, as I would put them. Yes, there are some kind of teeny bopper magazines that I still happen to read. For the most part, though, I do get 17. And I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I like about 17 magazine, and some things that kind of are just or maybe things that kind of rub me maybe sort of the wrong way. So without further ado, let me explain each of sort of the sections to you. Now, in each 17 magazine, there's basically all the sections that I mentioned: fashion, beauty, health, love, and life. And basically, some of these sections maybe interest me more than other sections do. For the most part, in my opinion, as far as the fashion section goes, I think some of the designs sometimes that they come up with are interesting. However, most of the time the prices are a little bit outrageous. But again, they still sometimes have like a $20 or less part where they offer stuff that's not too expensive. So I think that's a really good alternative for people who are on a budget and want to find some clothes that aren't so overpriced. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff that they do come up with at times is just a little ridiculous. For example, look at these shoes in this magazine. I mean, these shoes are kind of ridiculous. I mean, basically, if you can't really tell from what they are, they're kind of neon, almost like garbage looking sneakers, but then they have like this wedge, and for some reason, I don't know, I just think it doesn't look nice. I think at times the things that are hip are not necessarily things that I like. So for the most part, the fashion section is kind of a mix for me. But I do like some stuff that they come up with. I think some of it is okay for me. For example, I like her outfit, like right here. However, I'm not too big of a fan. I do like the top here, but with those, I think it's shorts, yeah, these yellow shorts, I think it's a little bit too, it doesn't really look nice, at least to me, or just friendly, I guess. So it is kind of a mixed bag, at least for me, when it comes to these fashion choices that they make and what they decide to put in the magazine. Another thing that's important to note is that a lot of the fashion stuff is sort of advertisement. And again, 17 does not shine away from advertisements. Again, it is a magazine, that would make sense. Especially, I would say probably on the back here. Yeah, they have American Rag, I believe. And yeah, from what I can say, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty mixed. Because again, I don't like certain things that they come up with. But sometimes I'll find something that I like, and I'll like it, but I don't think I necessarily qualify myself as purchasing it unless it's within a store that's around my area. Then I would consider it. But for the most part, I just look at the stuff and see what they come up with. And sometimes the trends that just go on are just not my style, and I don't really like conforming to what other people wear. I just usually like to wear whatever I like to wear. So yeah, it's kind of like that. As far as the fashion section goes, I'm kind of in the middle there. I'm not necessarily one side or the other when it comes to that particular section. I would say it's kind of mixed, but they do kind of, I think, provide you with different styles. So it's not like you have to, have a certain particular style. So it just depends if you like the styles that they come up with. And for me, it's sort of mixed. I think they do try to keep a lot of variety in there, but sometimes maybe the outfits that they come up with, putting like everything together, just doesn't really. It's just like, it's okay sometimes, and then sometimes I go, that's actually really creative. But yeah, I think that's really all I can say about the fashion section. Again, it's kind of a mix, for me at least. As far as the beauty section goes, I really don't pay attention to that section so much, especially when it's dealing with things like makeup. I'm not really a big makeup person. I've never really cared for putting makeup on so much. I like putting on makeup at times, but I don't like over-glossing myself with it. I just don't like caking myself with makeup. So I kind of don't really pay attention to that section so much. And I think it's just because, it's not really something that I really need or really need to pay attention to. And yeah, I mean, sometimes the hairstyles are interesting at times, but the thing is for me personally, my hair is short, so I really can't do much with my hair. But again, they do come up, again, it's sort of a mixed bag again for me when it comes to the beauty stuff. It's some of it I'll find interesting, like maybe with hair, or maybe with some makeup that they do, but for the most part, I'd probably say that the beauty section is probably the one I look at the least. But some people may find it appealing. For me, I don't really need it so much. But yeah, if you like that stuff, more than happy to share it with you. But I think that's really all I can say about that section. The next section is health, and I think the health section is actually really good. I think that's really good for teens and young adults, providing you with tips on how to keep yourself in shape and things that you can eat, and sort of like these encouragement tips, and trying to find stuff that will work for you and will suit you. I think that's really highlighted in the health section. I don't pay attention in the health section that much, but when I do, I think it's very informative and really helpful. And I think I'm going to start to pay attention a little bit more to the health section. But I really have nothing bad to say about the health section. I mean, I think the health section is a really good spot for teens to learn how to keep themselves healthy, and I think that's a positive thing for I think the most part. It's not sort of like a mixed thing with the fashion and the beauty. I think personally health is important, and yeah, and I think that they do offer really good tips to teens to help them with making sure that they can live a healthy life. And again, it's nice to get tips from actual trainers. Sometimes they have like professional trainers within the section, and these are like certain things that they do with celebrities or whoever, to make sure that they stay in shape and that they're healthy. Nothing really negative, I'd say, coming out from that particular part. At times they maybe do try to sell like workout clothing or things like that, but again, that's really all up to the consumer to decide if I really need gym clothes or not. And I don't think it's really that that bad of an idea to tell them, hey, here's some gym clothes if you want to buy gym clothes. But for the most part, yeah, decent health section for the most part. Now the next section is love, and this is basically like love advice for I actually recommend my male viewers, I totally dare you or double dare you to pick up one of these magazines. Like literally, I dare you to just read through and see if anything that comes to these magazines is accurate or is kind of true in a sense. I think 17 started to have like a guy panel where basically they have guys give girls advice, and then they would put them in their magazines. I think you'll see this in their section. It says like guy panel or something, and you'll see a quote of what a guy said about a particular topic. And the funny thing is about that is I actually find that rather interesting and appealing, but I'm just curious as to see how men would react to this like love section, because at times I don't know, just at times the things that 17 brings up I'm not sure exactly are really necessarily true, or if we're supposed to really take it seriously. I'll give you like a perfect example if I can find it, and it deals with like guys' sunglasses, like what's guys' sunglasses and what they wear for sunglasses. Let me see if I can find it. But as I'm searching through here, I can tell you guys that for the most part, I think 17 keeps the like love advice for the most part. I think they try to make it realistic and do actually try to provide you advice on how to deal with your love life. But again, some of this may come off as maybe not as accurate. I don't really know how to explain this, but here's an example. There's this one part which is kind of a little bit ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why they would assume this, but it says shade report. And then it says you don't need to make eye contact to know who really is behind those sunglasses. Really? So they're gonna judge a guy based upon what sunglasses he wears. And this is basically what they came up with. Aviators equals mature. These classic frames mean he's a bit reserved, so ask questions to open him up. He wants a girl he can't really talk to. Okay. And then it says Wayfarers equals cool. He's confident in his style and his moves. He won't be afraid to lean in for a sexy first kiss. Okay. I apologize. This section is kind of awkward to read. Neon equals fun. Silly sunnies are a sign that he doesn't take himself too seriously. He's always the life of the party. You'll have a blast. Beware. Or trendy equals try hard. Beware. He's not into showing off, not in getting to know you, and try hard guys are usually boring kissers. Okay. So they're basically going to make a judgment on what guys wear upon their shades, and then they say, yep, that's basically what he is. I think this is a little outrageous, for me personally, because I think that's too judgmental. I mean, okay, just look at all the people, the different dudes wearing the shades, and I don't know. I mean, I think this is Bruno Mars is wearing the aviators, and I don't know. I don't think you can really just judge based upon somebody's sunglasses whether or not they're, you know, I mean, the guy who's wearing the trendy sunglasses, maybe he's actually really not trying hard, you know, or maybe the neon equals fun guy isn't really that fun. Maybe he just likes wearing really bright stuff. Maybe the Wayfarers guy is not necessarily cool, or maybe the Aviators guy isn't necessarily mature. It doesn't make sense, 17. Why are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. I don't understand like these little things. Um, and this is just so fun to read. I could go on for maybe hours talking about this magazine, because this magazine just comes up with such hilarious, like, random stuff. And I'm not sure if this part's accurate or not, but I'll leave people up to decide whether or not. It says, like, spot a player if you want a hot vacay fling, not a gross vacay creeper. These are telltale signs that he's sketchy. He's on his own. He heaps on the compliments. He wants to seal the deal. Okay, I guess we could make assumptions based upon that maybe, yeah. But I think, again, there's tons of circumstances where you can, where that maybe, I mean, he could be on his own, but maybe he's in, like, I don't know, maybe he's in a new, he just moved in from a new town and he doesn't know anybody. You know, and maybe that's why he's on his own, you know. I mean, if you're in kind of a new town and you don't really necessarily know anyone, you could probably be alone in an area, like, I don't know, maybe going surfing alone or something. I mean, I think it's just, I just don't think we can assume certain things, because I think everything is sort of within the certain circumstance, because everybody ends up having their own different circumstance. And I think what bothers me about the love section is that it tries to put everything like, yeah, this is exactly how the circumstances are. And the thing is it's not the same with everybody. Everybody has their own little separate circumstance, and not everything automatically means this. So it's just one of those things where I just go, I don't know. I don't know, and if it feels like, and this is the thing, I don't know if it would actually offend some men, actually, if they would read this this section. I kind of want to know men's opinion on it, because, I mean, for me, it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know, it just makes everything seem like, yeah, within the 17 world, this is how it all works, and it's like, well, that's not reality. I'm sorry. It's like, it's everything is very circumstantial, and you can't just put a label on it and say, yeah, that's totally what the person is. But again, I could be wrong. But I think with like maybe trying to, I don't know, gain girls' confidence or something, I think they do try to make it fairly realistic, and try to be sort of helpful. I think with like little tips, they're good, but when they're trying to get into these sort of in-depth issues, I think that's where 17 kind of falls flat for me, because at times I don't really take what they say so seriously. It doesn't really personally offend me, but it might offend some people, because they'll look at that and go, what the heck, you know, I wear those glasses all the time and I'm not like that. And so I completely understand that point, and I completely understand the point of spot the player, you know, like, it's just kind of, yeah, I think when they do try to make these in-depth issues, I think they don't look at the full circumstances of what could happen, or what certain things could entail, because again, not everything entails and means that that person is what it says it is. And I think that's where 17, I think, it's particularly the love section, sort of falls flat for me, because I don't believe in those kinds of things, because I think that the advice is just a little bit too narrow, especially when it comes to more complex issues. But with simple things like talk to any guy, they say, and this is what kind of 17 brings up with the whole idea of, you know, finding a relationship or just talking to the opposite gender. It basically says, If he's out at a club, say, I told my friend you were cute, so she dared me to say hi. If he's on your volunteer trip, say, you're a pro. Have you done this before? If he's at the snack stand, so what's good here? If he's playing beach volleyball, say, can we get in on the next game? I think those are practical. I mean, I think those are fairly realistic ways of approaching. Maybe the club one is a bit stretched. But I think the other ones are fairly natural for the most part, and I think they do provide you with a means of starting a conversation. I think with like little things, and then it offers like little explanations for each one as to why you would say that, and I don't know, I guess I would just have to read it to you guys and see what you think. But basically it says, if he's out at a club, and what I just told you, what you say is, I told my friend you were cute, so she dared me to say hi. At a dark club with pounding music, you have to be one step braver than you usually are. This flirty line is just the trick. There's no way he won't be flattered. Is that really true, men? Really, is that a cheap one-liner that's been used constantly? I mean, just the idea of you're cute, you know, has that been overdone? I mean, I think it has to a certain extent. I mean, but I mean, I'm sure people would be flattered by it, but I just don't know. I guess with that one, it's kind of maybe, but then he probably won't hear you, and then that's the thing with loud music, is that he could probably misinterpret what you said. Like, it may come out as, I told friend you suit, she dare hi, you know. I mean, it could come out that way, and I have no idea. I think the best thing to do would just be to say hi and not try to code it with something like as an excuse. But again, totally interpretable. The other one of, on your volunteer trip, you're a pro. Have you done this before? You share an interest in giving back, so use it to jumpstart convo. Then ask if he wants to head to a dinner afterward. No pressure. Wait to spend more time together. I think dinner is a little bit forward. I never ask boys to dinner. I never say that. I only say maybe to lunch or for a drink, but I never say dinner. I think dinner is a little bit forward by my standards, because dinner is just a little bit more intimate, I guess, but the whole just, you're a pro, have you done this before, you know, offering some encouragement, I guess, trying to asking it in the form of a question. I think questions are really good, and all the other ones are questions too, so I think the best way to start a conversation with someone is to ask them a question, and I think when it comes to love advice, that's probably a good way of putting it. So for the most part, 17's love advice, I think, is sort of mixed. It is kind of, at times I think they do sort of maybe push it to the boundaries of reality, again with the shade report. I mean, really, can we just assume by that? I mean, I don't think we can. I just don't understand that. But I recommend my male viewers to, I dare you to pick up one of these magazines and tell me what you think, because I think the best way to do it is just to go into your local store. These are available like at Albertsons or a bookstore in your local area. They should be there. And you could just pick up and just read this section and tell me if what I'm saying sounds a little bit strange. Because, again, I do find these teen reads fascinating, but at times they do kind of sort of push the envelope on certain things. Another thing that kind of bugs me with 17 is the whole over pushing with the celebrities. Like, instead of having maybe ordinary guys here, they have all celebrities like Bruno Mars and Liam Hemsworth. I think isn't he married to Miley Cyrus now or something? But I think it'd be nice if we could get more ordinary people instead of these celebrities posing for stuff, especially when it comes to like real love advice, because again, this is real. Okay, you're trying to give actual advice to teenage girls, and if you're putting like big name celebrities on there and like trying to make us think to take it seriously, it's gonna be hard, because I mean, I just don't understand why they don't make it more like real and actually show maybe real couples rather than celebrity couples. I mean, I guess it's for them, it's easier to put photos up, or they don't have to investigate much into that person's like love life or anything. But I think real life situations, like if they could put more quotes from actual teenagers and what they've experienced and how they found somebody, I think that would make it a lot more legit than just offering us a little snippet of, yeah, I can see that happening, I can see that being realistic, and then putting stuff like, the shade report, like to judge somebody just based upon the glasses that they wear. I don't know. I think that's really overstretching it, and I don't know. I think that's a little bit pushing it. But I'd be more than happy to hear anybody's ideas about that, because for the most part, and the reason why I find the love section more interesting is because it's dealing with like relationships, whereas with fashion it's just stuff, and with beauty it's just stuff, and with health it's kind of about yourself, but it's also dealing with stuff, like stuff that you do. But this is actually an interaction. This is between you and somebody else. It's a relationship, and I find that stuff a lot more interesting than just, okay, looking at the latest trend. Okay, alright, yeah, whatever. Ooh, relationship. Find it more, I guess, interesting. And I don't mean relationship like official relationships, or I mean relationship in a really loose sense. And this is the thing here is they ask you also with, he's secretly sneaky ways to tell he's secretly over you. And this is basically what they give advice for. And I kind of really would like to hear people's opinions on these, because sometimes I think they can be a little bit maybe obscure. He's on his own schedule. Think about it. Last time you hung out, what was it with his friends? And was the last movie you saw one he wanted to see? A guy who's losing interest might still loop you into plans, but he won't carve out special time just for you. Okay, yeah, I can kind of see that. I understand where that's coming from. But it may be that maybe he just has a lot of other stuff going on, and because I think everybody's schedules, it kind of it goes sort of back and forth. and people have, at one point they're more busy and they have more things going on, and then at another point they have less stuff going on, and a lot more is pressured on them at a certain point, and then there's less pressure at a certain point. So I think it kind of goes in waves. Again, I think that people should, if they really want to be with someone, at least, kind of express, some interest of putting them into their schedule. But I think they should, let them know, hey, I'm kind of busy right now, but I'll try to make time. I think that's the important thing, is that they make some time, if they can. And I think it just depends if they show that they want to. And yeah, I mean, I guess if he's just with his friends and with you, maybe that's not necessarily means that he wants to put the effort into it. But again, I think that one, that's mostly understandable. He skips greetings. That's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, definitely self-explanatory. He's faking it in photos. Check the last night's pics of you guys together. Is he smiling without any teeth? Are his eyes sort of empty? A fake face is a clue that he's feeling ambivalent about your relationship. But again, there's also other circumstances where he's probably not smiling. Maybe his parents divorced, and he's going through a really rough time. And some people, they don't really like to share that stuff because, again, they feel like it's better to not bring that stuff up with friends or other people. They may keep to themselves about that, and maybe that's why, somebody becomes maybe more removed from you. Maybe there's some other things that go on in life that, prevent you from really trying to develop a productive relationship with other people. Maybe there's I think for this one, he's faking photos. That could be interpreted. There's tons of interpretations as to why somebody wouldn't smile in a picture. I think this one's just a little bit, I mean, it's possible and it's probably could be likely, but to say that it would happen in every circumstance, but I don't know. Sometimes, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's kind of like, yes, that could happen. Yeah, that's a possibility, but to put that down as even a suggestion, I don't know. It seems a little bit obscure. And the thing is I don't think people should really take the 17 as a Bible. I really don't. I don't think people should take 17 as this huge book of magazine of wisdom. I don't think it necessarily is, but it is a little bit at times difficult to, I guess, decipher, because at times you go, yeah, but it could also mean this, and there's tons of different ways you can put it. And yeah, I think an example is just clearly highlighted with the shades, and then with the spot up player, and then with sneaky ways to tell he's secretly over you. Again, you don't really know until it's yeah.
Wake-up call?
Yes.
What, 7:15?
Yes. Awesome.
Nothing from you?
Not so far. I'm gonna check again. Apologies. So yes, I think that's really all I can say about the love issue. That's my mom again. She keeps asking me about, when I should wake you up because I have to work tomorrow. But yes, definitely something that's very mixed bag for me. But it's interesting. I think it's one of the more interesting sections. It's one of the sections I kind of look forward to. coming to 17, even though I may not take everything that it says seriously, and I actually may not even agree with things that they say. And then they give, and then there's another section, weird hookup behaviors explained. And then you go, and for most of this advice, from what I read, is pretty, I think could offer a clear explanation to certain situations. But again, everybody has a different circumstance that they run into. And I guess it's just important to maybe see if that's ultimately how you interpret the situation to be or not. So yeah, I think it just depends. So yeah, it offers a good, I'm not saying that it doesn't offer a good explanation, but there could be probably other explanations. Because again, they have a scenario, and then they tell you what an explanation to that scenario is and why it is the way it is. And I think the best way I could say from that is just, yeah, I mean, that could be an explanation. It could be. And but I like too is that again you have the dudes, it's actual dudes, like real people, not like celebrities who are giving you actual advice. I personally think that celebrity culture is a lot different from average everyday American culture, and I think it's nice when they have actual people quoting, and I like to see more pages like this where they actually quote from real people. And it would be nice here to have like a little explanation of somebody who maybe had this certain scenario happen to them, and say what the results were of it and how they felt about it, because everybody's going to take your words and take them a different way. I could go up to somebody and say, hey, you're a pro, have you done this before? And then somebody will say, no, never done this before. And then you go, oh, okay, sorry about that. You know, and then you can run into sort of an awkward conversation. Or somebody could say, oh, thanks, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a pro, but if you want to put it that way, I guess I am. It's just some people, either they want to engage with you or they don't. It's kind of that gamble. So in the end, it's the important thing, I think, is just to do, or to, I guess, try to say, to do and to say, and never leave an opportunity sort of closed. And I think that's really important to tell people. But again, the whole shade report thing, and then the spot a player bit, and the sneaky ways to tell he's secretly over you, kind of, yeah, I can see certain things, and yeah, they offer fairly, I think, decent explanations to certain stuff, but I think it just kind of puts itself on the edge as just to go, okay, I'm sorry, but for everybody else it's different. It's not like you can say that's how it all is. Yeah, that's really what this person is doing, and it's really what this person's thinking, and because nobody thinks exactly the same way. Again, mixed feelings about this particular section, but enjoy reading it, because it's, I think, a little bit out there compared to all of the other sections. Like weird hookup behaviors explained. That's probably that might be an awkward section to read, but it's informative. I'll give it that. It is informative. So that's pretty much all I can say about the love section. Last section of teen or 17 is life, and life basically has different stories sometimes of like real life people who've been through traumatic experiences. Like this one girl talks about how she was carjacked at the mall, and it offers a whole story about her, and again, real scary real life scenario, and fascinating. I'm surprised that out of all magazines, teens still, this magazine in particular, still puts like real life stuff and stuff that can be relatable to people. I think that that's very, very good to do for a teen magazine. And then there's advice about money. I would read The Sex in College to you, but I don't want to really discuss that. But I like that it does quote actually from actual people in this section. At least it does try to incorporate real life experiences. So again, I think if they go for the more real life scenario of people and what they've been through, then you can kind of get a sense of, okay, this may happen to me, may not, but I know from a person, who had a certain experience, hey, that's similar to reality. It's cohesive to reality. So I guess that's really a way I can put it, or the best way I could put it. And then again, it has a person like on the cover here. I have no idea who she is. Lily Collins. I guess she's an actress. I don't really know where she's from, but again, they ask her questions and she basically answers them and she provides advice, and that's always good, I think, for teens. And it offers sort of some styles, and then always towards the end they have the signs, and I still read the signs even though I know it's complete, it's complete fantasy. It's none of this stuff happens to me. So yeah, I mean, I think that's really all I can say really about this magazine. Again, out of pretty much a lot of other teen magazines I looked at, I like how this tries to incorporate real people and tries to bring about real situations that people may run into at certain points in their lives, in their young adult lives. Unlike magazines where they talk about celebrities like literally all the time. I mean, 17 does quote sometimes celebrities and tries to incorporate celebrity I guess ideas and perspectives, which is totally fine in providing, advice, at least I think sometimes. But I think in the other magazines like G or J14 or all those other magazines that really plaster celebrities like everywhere and only talk about celebrities, I don't think those magazines are really providing teens with with a real look into real life. I think they're just providing them with sort of a fantasy world. And I think what 17 does is it tries to mix the two together. And sometimes I think that's okay. Like with, having the person on the cover and then having, sort of an interview. I think that works. I think it works if you want to have teens advertised, or doing advertisement. I think that's fine. Or providing maybe a quote or two. But to put certain things within a certain way and say that's really how it is, when I think that some things are just very circumstantial, and I just don't think you can categorize them. That's what I think sometimes 17 does, and I think that's when this irrational ideas and things that are kind of fantasy don't mesh well with what's really reality. So that's, I think, basically what I'm saying. Like, and that's basically, I think, the best way I can sum that up is through the love section and how they put, like, shady, or shade report or something like that, where they try to say, yeah, that's how somebody is because that's what they choose to wear. But again, I think that's really all I can say about this magazine. And I really do encourage both males and females to read this. Even though, you know, if you are probably the opposite gender of myself, this may have been sort of awkward to watch, and I apologize. But I really wanted to talk about this magazine today because I think for the most part, 17 does provide some things that are not within, you know, regular teenage magazines. However, I still think that they can improve themselves in trying to, you know, make it more realistic. But for the most part, I think that they still provide me with at least something. You know, it's nice to pick it up and read it once. That's usually what I do with 17 magazines. I pick it up, I read it once, or I read a couple of things one day and then I finish reading the rest of what I wanted to read the next. And then that's pretty much it, and then I wait for the next one to come because I'm kind of like, okay, I've already seen whatever I wanted to see and move on now. It's kind of the same way with books. Like, usually I don't reread a book. I always move on, and I always try to find something new. So I think that's just maybe me. But again, I think it is recommendable if you haven't decided to purchase 17. I suggest that, you know, go for it, no matter what gender you are, because, I mean, I think it would be interesting if I read Sports Illustrated or something of that nature. I think I should try to maybe read one of those magazines. But I definitely encourage anybody from whatever gender you are that it doesn't affect you. I think if you just look at it maybe once, it's not like you're going to, you know, suddenly, you know, I'm reading a girl magazine. I'm so scared. I think it's a good portal into understanding things, no matter what gender you are, because again, there's guys in here that are providing advice, and there's tons of guys getting quotes and pictures and stuff in the magazines as well, and sometimes they actually have guys on the cover, but not as often, I think, because again, this is more of a girl magazine. But again, totally recommendable. I think there are certain things that can be are definitely in there that can be useful to people and help people out if whatever circumstances, being young adults. I'm 20 years old and I still read 17, and yeah, I enjoy it for what it is. There's certain things that I don't particularly care for, but for the most part, I can say, yeah, it's recommendable. Definitely worth checking out if you are interested in understanding things. I would definitely I would love to hear people's ideas and perspectives. And yeah, I think that's really all I can say about 17 magazine. But if you have any questions, comments, concerns, I'm more than happy to answer them. And yeah, until next time, bye-bye everybody.